My name is Felix Lin from Aloha News, and today we'll be talking about Hawaii. The first known settlers of the Hawaiian Islands were Polynesian voyagers who arrived sometime in the 8th century, and by the early 18th century, the first American traders came to Hawaii to exploit the island's sandalwood, which was much valued in China at the time. In the 1830s, the sugar industry was introduced to Hawaii, and by the mid-19th century had become well established. American missionaries and planters brought about great changes in Hawaiian political, cultural, economic, and religious life. And in the 1840s, a constitutional monarchy was established, stripping the Hawaiian monarch of much of his authority. Americans acquired a true foothold in Hawaii as a result of the sugar trade. The climate and soil of the Hawaiian Islands were ideal for producing sugarcane, thus an entire industry was encouraged by American commercial trade in Hawaiian Islands. This was especially so after the demise of the whaling industry in the 1860s, and by the 1870s, the sugar industry started to supplant it as one of the more profitable commercial trades between the U.S. and the Hawaiian Islands. Now to Sue, who will be talking about the events that led to the U.S. intervention in Hawaii, also known as the annexation of Hawaii.
This is Sue reporting to you live from Aloha News headquarters. So we found out that in the 1820s, the U.S. whaling industry established itself in the Hawaiian Islands, as there were a greater number of whales to be found in the Pacific than the Atlantic Ocean. In the same year, American missionaries began to descend on Hawaiian Islands to spread the Christian faith. Following that, the Hawaiian Islands were ideal for producing sugarcane because of its climate and weather. The United States also became interested in the Hawaiian Islands because it served as a way station and provisioning point for the shippers, sailors, and whalers trading with Asian nations. Hawaii had the finest harbor in the mid-Pacific and was viewed as a strategically valuable coaling station and naval base, which allowed the most convenient way of international trade. So basically, Hawaii was the key provisioning spot for American whaling ships, fertile ground for American Protestant missionaries, a new source of sugarcane production, and a solid base for international trade, causing the U.S. to intervene and eventually allowing Hawaii's economy to become increasingly integrated with the United States. Thank you.
I have a guest who's going to talk about how U.S. gained control over Hawaii.
Hi, I'm Erica Stress.
Oh, so can you tell us what was happening in Hawaii during the 19th century?
During the 19th century, European and American missionaries had obtained political power within the Hawaiian government.
What happened as a result of the U.S. gaining control over Hawaii?
So as a result of gaining political and economic power, they developed a much profitable sugar industry and selected Sanford B. Dole as a leader of Reform Party. They aimed to organize themselves into an anti-monarchy political party, modernize Hawaii, and protect the interests of sugar planters.
What happened to the Hawaiian government?
When King Kalakaua died and was succeeded by his sister Luluokalani, she drafted a new constitution to restore power to native Hawaiians. They did not work out as planned because of American intervention by sending U.S. Marines to occupy Hawaii. They were able to depose of Queen and install Sanford B. Dole as president. When President Grover Cleveland withdrew an annexation treaty, the committee set up a Republic of Hawaii and continued to seek annexation. Finally, Congress created a territory of Hawaii, and President McKinley appointed Sanford B. Dole as the first territorial governor.
Oh, so how did it affect Hawaii?
U.S. controlled the labor force, even steered the labor force to vote in the favor. Wages were the main issue, but the right to organize, shorter hours of work, freedom from discrimination, and protest against unfair discharge were matters that triggered the disputes. Military controlled all aspects of civilian life.
How did this affect the people of Hawaii?
So it controlled all government function and judicial system, which is replaced with a military tribunal. Constitutional rights were suspended. All civilians were forced to submit. Curfews and blackouts, fingerprinting, food and gas rationing. Martial law censored the news, personal communication.
Thank you for your information and your time.
Thank you for letting me share the information I had. Thank you.
Now I'm introducing a Hawaiian reporter who will be telling us more about Hawaiian resistance and opposition to U.S. actions.
Hello, my name's Hayne.
So Hayne, was there opposition to U.S. actions? If so, were they violent or non-violent?
Yes, there were oppositions to U.S. actions, but they were not violent. In fact, in 1897, tens of thousands of Hawaiians petitioned peacefully to President William McKinley to oppose a treaty for annexation of Hawaii that has been submitted to the United States and Senate.
Oh, I see. What was the Queen doing at the time?
The recently deposed Queen Liliuokalani also submitted a formal protest to President and to Congress in an attempt to preserve the sovereignty of Hawaii. Although these early infringements upon Hawaii sovereignty resulted primarily from aggression of foreign powers, they show how Hawaiians dealt with British and French and provided a model for relations and strategy in the Americans.
So what happened next?
Unfortunately, the League lobbying efforts left only 46 senators in favor of the resolution, less than two-thirds majority needed for approval of a treaty. The League victory was short-lived. However, as unfolding world events soon forced the annexation issue to fore again.
Well, did they continue even though they were unsuccessful in the beginning?
So, despite the desperations which led the Hawaiians to open annexation negotiations in 1854, they successfully kept Americans at bay for the next 40 years. Their efforts were not solely responsible for resisting annexation and were supplemented by American anti-imperialist movements.
Thank you for telling us more about Hawaiian resistance.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Felix Lin, your anchor, and this is the last session of Aloha News. World War II was a faraway affair until the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in December 7, 1941. After that, Hawaii became central to the United States war effort in the Pacific. The islands became a changed place, ruled by martial law for the duration of the war and hosting hundreds of thousands of servicemen as they moved through the war to and from battle. In the years following the war, Hawaii benefited from the country's growing prosperity and fond memories of those visiting wartime soldiers. Sugar remained the powerhouse of the economy, but the post-war years saw upheavals in the labor dynamic. Unions became a force to contend with, spurred on by the dynamic leaders such as Jack Hall and others. By 1949, they won major victories on improving wages and working conditions. In 1959, political lobbying and negotiations, which had been going on for years, finally came to fruition when Hawaii was admitted to the Union as the 50th state, following close on the heels of Alaska. Statehood brought certain political advantages as well as news access to federal funds. It also ushered the island into a new era of prosperity. The government today is a democracy which allows the people to have a say in their government. In 1993, Congress apologized to the people of Hawaii for their role in the overthrow and acknowledged that, quote, the native Hawaiian people never directly relinquished to the United States, but their claims to their inherent sovereignty. Senator Daniel K. Akaka of Hawaii has been proposing repeatedly to extend sovereignty to 40,000 native Hawaiians, called the Reorganization Act. Supporters of the bill think it is necessary to protect native culture and redress Hawaiian for past injustices. Opponents say the bill is unworkable and would create a racially divided state. Thank you for tuning in with Aloha News.